Eli.
Okay, this is the May 13th, 2021 meeting of the Town of Lawrenceburg Zoning Board of Appeals. Let the record reflect that members present are Matt Oliver, new member, Matthew Kennedy, Teresa Coughlin, and myself. First business on the agenda is the approval of the meeting minutes of the previous meeting, but minutes were incomplete, so I make a motion we put that over till the next meeting.
Right.
You don't have page 82, do you, Teresa? In the minutes?
No.
I know maybe you might have got them, just mine.
No, I noticed it was like a duplicate.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, so.
That's okay.
That was 7 months ago, maybe?
Next item is ZBA 2021-1. Patty, can you tell us how this comes before us?
Sure, the bond, 1786, would like to install a fence around the property, and they, would like to install 6-foot height fence in the front yard. And only, the requirement in the code is maximum of 4 feet in the front yard. Therefore, they need to get a variance from you to be able to get a permit for the 6 foot. And tonight, representing the bond, 1786, is Chantel Green.
She signed the form that's required.
Well, she works for the
Agent.
corporation, so she's okay.
Okay, at this time, I'll open the public hearing on ZBA 2021-1. And any of the board members have any questions or any?
I do. How, the fence that was there originally?
That's going to 6
Years
foot.
ago,
Yes. How tall was that?
6 foot.
It was 6 foot.
Yep.
How many years ago was it taken down?
many,
Was it many years ago?
yeah.
Okay. There
When the
wasn't a-
Flanagans bought it, they took it down, that was the first thing they did. They
Yeah.
didn't want it.
2006 it might have been
Okay.
when the Flanagans bought it. It could have been even a little bit sooner than that. But I can look up the records.
It doesn't
No,
matter,
it's
because
okay.
it's been.
It's been a while, but there was something that was already, it already existed, is what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
You know, it was there from when I was a child. That was a few years ago. So,
Mhm.
you know, a lot longer than it's been gone.
Right.
Why did the planning board want it down?
They didn't. The owner wanted it down. She didn't like it. She wanted people to see the beautiful building.
So then since there was a fence there, how soon would they have to put the fence back up without going through us?
Right away. They would have, if they wanted to replace it, they could have back then. But because, at least within a year, I would think that would be the very latest.
So that would be carrying over from like so the original owner, say they took it down and they wanted to put it back up, they would still have to come before us, is what you're stating, if it was today. If it was the same owner. Something that something that existed would be,
If there was a 6-foot fence there yesterday and they wanted to replace it, I would let them. If
Okay.
there was one there, but it has been gone for many
many
years.
years, okay.
Yeah.
I've got a question for you, Patty. If this gets approved, it still has to go to the planning board for them to decide. It doesn't go to the planning board?
Mhm. No.
Do you
Just need
have
the variance.
something you'd like to add?
I just brought some examples. Like this was the original white fence that was with Mayor McGee back in a couple years ago. And then I just brought some examples of what we would like to do. It's just so that when the guests are sitting outside and enjoying their dinner, they can actually block out some of those sounds. That way, when the traffic is going through, they're not having to get distracted from the traffic. It is very noisy, as you guys know, that is a 4-way intersection. It's the biggest traffic to get up to exit, or 28 in Chestertown. Let's see.
So you're looking at a fence that people cannot see through.
Yes. Yeah, and it's just gonna be in the front of the parking lot area.
They have a map of where it's
Yeah.
supposed to be, or where
I
you
don't know
guys
if you
want.
guys were able to see that or not. But if you look at, 66 Elm, it's gonna come up just maybe 10, 15 feet up that way, and then it'll come right in front of, I know this is Hudson.
Elm?
Elm, yep, so it'll just come.
Yeah,
in
well,
front of
whatever Trish drew on theirs is what the variance is for,
it. Yes.
so. They have a drawing of what was asked for.
And so this fence is,
So I guess you have to look at what they have to see if that's what you want, because that's what the application's for, is what they have.
will this fence be right at the top of that low wall that sits behind the seats that they have for the bandstand cross, like it used
Well, it has to be 2 feet from the sidewalk, so,
to? So it'll actually
It has
set
to
back a
be.
little further than it used to.
it
It used
has
to be
to
right
be,
on that, you only had,
unless you grant them a variance for that too, but they didn't ask for that. They did not ask for that. So but our code says 2 feet from the sidewalk.
Which we think, so anyways.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yes.
I know it's a different subject. What about the signage?
That is a different subject.
If we can touch base on that too after.
Okay,
That's not for tonight.
that's, I was gonna say, yeah, okay.
Well, the sign, I think they're gonna, do something with this existing sign. So, and they are applying for other, signage.
Okay, perfect.
the town didn't take any action on the sign part of the ordinance when they just did the revisions, what, this month or was it last month?
What do you mean, what part of it?
We've had quite a few sign, I know it's south and south.
Well, yeah, I think Ash is gonna wanna come for variance for, an additional sign, but I don't know yet. Trish is coming in tomorrow to get permits, but it's for the size of it's for the size. But, even if we change the code, it's still bigger than I think what our changes would have been. I'm not sure, because we didn't end up, but we weren't looking to change the projecting sign. No, I mean, nobody
No.
asked
Right.
the town board to change that, so it wasn't one of those,
I know they've
Thanks.
asked us every time, so.
yeah. But they also, want more signs than what's allowed on the property too. So that was,
We'll deal with that when
yeah,
it comes up.
Okay.
Mr. Oliver, you have any questions?
No,
You know?
I'm good.
You have anything more to add? If it,
I don't think so. I mean, it's really plain and simple. It's just right in the front. We just want to put the fence that was originally there back.
And the material, the fencing material, is that, do you know what that'll be, or
Most
just
likely it'll be vinyl.
vinyl?
I just have one thing to add, pertaining to that, and it doesn't sound like it's gonna be an issue. The county planning board came back with their referral. And, it says no county impact, but they would encourage a discussion with the applicant to identify a style of fence to fit the character of the neighborhood. Sounds
And the fence that you've got the examples of, you're pretty sure that's going to be the choice?
Yes, so I'm sure you're familiar with the gristmill that it has in the fencing. It's going to be the same exact fence.
And I guess who determines whether it's in the character of the neighborhood?
That's
You, I guess.
No? Only one man on the board, so.
No, I mean you as a board, not you as, not you as in citizen of the town, just as you as a board.
Anyone else have, Mr.
So
Oliver?
you're gonna 8 foot,
Six.
6 foot
6 foot.
PVC fencing material, same to gristmill, right?
Vinyl, yes.
Final.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, at this time I'll close the public hearing on ZBA 2021-1, and we'll proceed to discussion. If I remember correctly, Patty, Mr. Shackner said at this time we should make the motion to approve the variance, go through the discussion, and then vote on the motion.
Yes, make the motion, then discuss, then, yep.
So I'll make a motion that we approve ZBA 2021-1. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
For your information, this board has always made a motion in the affirmative for the applicant. Just to, I guess, it's just customary for us, but, so we haven't approved anything, but at the end, after we just go through the discussion, then if it passes or fails, depends on how many of each one of us votes, so. Okay. And also on the area variance, they don't have to meet all 5 conditions, they just have to meet a majority of the conditions. On a use variance, they have to meet all the conditions, I believe there's 4. And so the area variance can, something on here you might disagree with, but it doesn't mean that you have to vote against it because they didn't agree with one of the conditions. Number 1, whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of the area variance. The answer, no. Current zoning permits 4-foot fence. We are asking for an extra 2 feet, giving the fence 6 feet in height. That will not produce an undesirable change to the neighborhood. Nearby properties, as the previous owners already had the fence, 6-foot fence in the same place. Any of the board members have any questions to that? I mean, it's pretty straightforward, and they did have a fence there for 50 years. Okay, number 2, whether the benefit sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance. The answer is no. Current zoning only permits 4 feet. Advised by the town that in order to receive a 6-foot fence, we have to submit an area variance. Well, we've talked about a few of the advantages. I know from my own point of view, having attended a few weddings there on the lawn, that it did give you a sense of privacy. You know, it separated you from, and I'm sure that it's less distraction for drivers and whatever going by too, depending on what kind of event they got going. Anyone have anything to add to that? Number 3, whether the requested area variance is substantial. You answer yes. Requesting 2 extra feet for privacy purposes instead of current zoning that permits 4 feet. I don't know what that word is back there.
Requesting 2 extra feet for privacy purposes instead of current zoning that permits 4 foot, requesting 6 foot in the same location that previous owners had.
Thank you. I know the young people don't read cursive, but I used to. Well, I don't know if that's substantial or not. I mean, it's, we don't allow any 6-foot front line fences. It would be 33% out of compliance, I guess. We don't have a lot of experience in this. My time on the board, I don't know if we've ever had a
Gristmill is
request
6
like
foot.
that. No questions from board members? And how high is that little wall out that it'll be sitting on top of? That's about 2 feet, probably.
I go 2 feet, close,
How much?
about 2 feet probably, in the ballpark range.
I don't know if that's relevant. I mean, it's, the thing that's they're trying to screen is on the top level of that. So
Right.
we'll proceed to number 4. Whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect or impact on physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. No, an extra 2 feet of height will not have an adverse impact on the environmental conditions. I don't see where I can disagree with that unless it blows over into the road. Mr. Kennedy? No. Okay. I thought you were ready to give me a question. Okay, we'll go to number 5. Whether the alleged difficulty was self-created, which consideration shall be relevant to the decision of the Zoning Board of Appeals, which shall not necessarily preclude the granting of the area variance. You answer no, the alleged difficulty was not self-created. Town officials advised us in order to get a permit for a 6-foot fence in height, we need an area variance. Would anybody like to give an opinion on whether,
I think this is a self-created because you want a fence now where, I guess, 6-foot fence. So I think that maybe number 5 should be answered maybe yes, because you're asking for a fence that's been there, but people have been able to see through.
Okay.
So I think with your fence, I think it's self-created.
We were just trying to establish another 6-foot fence that was similar to what was already put there.
Okay.
But now the variance is only 4 feet, was, 3 years ago it was 6 foot originally? And now it changed to 4 foot, so we're just asking for.
Oh, you mean the one that was there was 6 foot?
Yeah, and then the variance just changed in the last 3 years, is that correct?
the code?
No, it's always been 4 feet in front.
Okay.
Since we've had zoning in 1988, it's been 4 foot in front.
Okay. Just wanted to-
6 feet on the sidelines, 4 feet on the front, right?
Hmm?
It's 6 feet on the sidelines.
Yeah, 6 on the side and the rear.
Okay.
It's always been 4 in front.
Well, I gotta tell you that the board struggles with question number 5 almost every meeting. So it's really,
Tough one.
it's a little hard and it's been addressed in a few of the training sessions and never the same way twice. So are members ready to vote? A yes vote will approve ZBA 2021-1.
Ready?
Okay. Ms. Coughlin?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
No.
Mr. Oliver?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. So you Patty can issue your permit. And, I personally think that the fence was an asset on that corner. So,
I agree.
okay.
You're free to go. Trish can just get the permit tomorrow when she puts some seats.
Thank you guys for the time tonight. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Ms. Dodson.
Any door you want.
Next item on the agenda is organization of the board, which we did at our last meeting, but that was quite a while. So, confirmation of meeting night and time. I'm pretty flexible now that I'm retired, but if anyone has some other day that would be better, you better speak up.
Or a time. You
Or
can
a
have it
time.
earlier if you want.
Can't do it.
Okay, I'll move that meeting night and time remains the same as it has been. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next item is appointment of chairperson, vice chairperson, and secretary. Would anyone like to be the chairperson?
I thought we voted on this already.
I didn't hear you,
I
Teresa.
thought we voted on this already.
You haven't
We
met
did
this
it the
year.
last meeting.
Oh, for this year, this is the last,
Yeah.
gotcha.
I nominate Mark.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Appointment of a vice chairperson. I suggested we continue on with Ms. Goffin.
I second.
Do you have any objections to that, Ms. Goffin?
No.
Okay, good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now, the secretary. Mr. Oler was our secretary. Is he still on our board?
Mm-hmm.
Is
Yeah,
Alan,
he is on your board.
is Alan still on board?
Would anyone like to be the secretary? Hasn't ever been any work to it, but doesn't mean it won't change.
I can
Nancy,
do it. I can do it.
you can do it.
I'll second.
I nominate Ed Oliver. Matthew seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, do we have any communications?
Just the Townsend topics I left on some of your desks.
Then I make a move that we adjourn. Is there a second?
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.